Hi, welcome everyone. It's Mike Newton down here at Lytham Golf Academy, and I've got another head-to-head for you here. Keep it in the Callaway theme. We're releasing some videos, obviously with the new introduction of the Rogue series from Callaway, and I'm going to put it up, and this is the big one for me, I'm going to put it up against the Epic Sub-Zero. So Sub-Zero in the Rogue against Epic Sub-Zero. So as many of you will have seen, maybe in my What's in the Bag, you know I'm gaming the Epic Sub-Zero at the moment, and I'm loving it. I think it's a great performing driver for me personally. It helps me to get my spin number down, which is something I do struggle with a bit with. I love the look of it. I love the sound of it. It's a very powerful flight for me. And it just ticks all the right boxes for me. So I'm really interested to see if Rogue Sub-Zero can offer me anything different. Okay, now tech-wise, it's a more compact head than the standard Rogue in terms of the Rogue Sub-Zero. Just looking at those two together side by side, it's quite similar. It's probably a fraction longer from front to back. Whether that's just me, I don't know, but it may be just a fraction longer as I would look at it there. Now, they made some weight savings on the carbon crown here, so obviously the repositioning weight around the head a little bit more with Rogue. They've made some weight savings on the jailbreak bars that obviously supports the sole and the crown to help get energy back into the golf ball in terms of ball speed. And we've definitely seen that with Epic, through fittings last year. We've definitely sort of seen that slight increase in ball speed, which has been really good. So a little bit of weight saving on the rods here. So again, that weight they've saved, the repositioning in other parts of the club head. The two screws, which are changeable front to back, so there's a 2-gram screw and a 14-gram screw. In the Epic Sub-Zero, that was a 12-gram, so it's a slightly heavier weight here. So as you move this back and forwards in the head, that can obviously alter CG placement, help to hit slightly lower launch, lower spin golf shots. So typically in the Epic Sub-Zero, I had the 12-gram weight in the front, set at 9 degrees with generally a low spin shaft in there to try and keep my number down. And it worked pretty well. I could generally get my good hits going over that 300-yard mark if I get the strike right. I've done a review of this. I'll put it up on the link just up here. So Rogue Sub-Zero review, and I've hit some big shots with it. So early testing, it's doing a similar job to this in terms of the power packed that's in the golf club here for me. So again, I'm going to set this up same as this. So I'm going to put the 14-gram weight forward. And I did a little tweak in the review video you might have seen there by shifting the weight back a little bit. But I'm going to put it forward like I've got in my Epic Sub-Zero. Set it at 9 degree, and I'm going to use the same shaft for both of these clubs here, which is the hazardous low spin option here. So again, trying to get my spin number down. And we'll see how these stack up head to head for me personally. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the Epic Sub-Zero. So setting, obviously the driver I'm sort of gaming at the moment. Just a slightly different shaft than what I would normally have in. I normally have the Aldil AD7 shaft in, but I'm going to put this low spin here, just try and keep the shaft the same between these two sort of clubs, because I've been tinkering a little bit with shafts. The AD is probably a little bit softer. I do generally like something that's a little bit firm in that tip section, which is what this hazardous is. So we'll get this first one sort of hit here. So again, the look of Sub-Zero in the Epic is great. I do like it, as I mentioned before. Let's get this first one a hit. Okay, that's a great flight. Yeah, I like that. That's definitely low spin. There it is. It trundles over that 300-yard marker there. So 306. That ran out at, spinning at 1400. It was a little bit toe side there, so that'll have dragged a bit of spin off there, but as you can see, that just gets the ball going for. That's an incredibly low number, probably a little bit too low because I've hit that slightly toe strike on that particular shot anyway. Okay, so I'm going to hit a batch of shots here, maybe just run through these quite quickly. I won't show you every single ball flight here, but I'll hit a batch of shots with the Epic Sub-Zero before we move on to the Rogue. Right, okay, so there's a few shots hit with Epic Sub-Zero, and it feels great. As I say, I'm a big fan of this. It's been in my bag all last year, it's still in there. and gives me some pretty decent numbers. So again, really going to be interested to see what Rogue Sub-Zero does, if it does anything. So without further ado, we'll jump into that, hit some batch of shots, then we can delve into some numbers in a little bit more detail. Right, okay guys, so same shaft here, but I've switched the head, so we're now in the Rogue Sub-Zero. Again, set at 9° square club face setting, and the heavier weight, which is 2 grams heavier now, 14 gram, is in the front front setting position like we had in Epic. So very, very similar setup here between the two, to try and keep these tests as equal as we possibly can. Now we had some really good hits with Epic there that I have sort of seen through many tests on launch monitor and out on the golf course, to be honest, as well. But again, as I sit this down by the golf ball, it definitely looks a tiny bit bigger from front to back. It's not big as in the normal Rogue, because that is considerably bigger front to back, but I think against Epic, I'll put a couple of close-up pictures here. To me, it looks a little bit bigger, okay, and it is only fraction, but sits very square, if anything, a slight open appearance that you generally see with Sub-Zero there. Tech-wise, very similar, you know, the carbon top, we've got the speed bump on the top to help with aerodynamics. But let's get this first one hit. I'm really excited to see what Rogue Sub-Zero can do. Okay, that's a decent start. Struck that pretty well, just slightly leaked up the right, but a good solid hit. 310, I like that. Okay, so that's got out there pretty well there, just under 2,000 spin. That's my golden number. If I can get it around there, I've got the ball speed to cope with that. A little bit of strike, which is obviously more me than the actual golf club. But obviously getting the right setup with the golf club helps me to get to that 2,000 sort of mark, or just under it. Sound of that, sound a little bit louder than Epic. Okay, now that's one of the big things I enjoyed about Epic, was that sort of muted dull. It was like a powerful sort of, not a powerful sound, but it felt powerful with a more muted sort of feel to it, or sound to it, which you sort of get with this composite titanium mix. That sounds a little bit louder. Definitely sounds a little bit louder there, which doesn't bother me. You know, it's not massively louder. It's just a touch louder than what I'm used to with the Epic. Okay, so that was a good positive start there with Rogue Sub-Zero. So again, I'm going to hit a batch of shots here, and then we'll look into some numbers a little bit more detail. Okay, so there's a batch of shots. Didn't quite get that last one there. That was a little bit healing. That's just dropped it off at 290. I'm guessing that spin. Well, the spin had only crept up to 240 there. I thought that might be a little bit more there. It wasn't the perfect strike, that last one. Okay, that felt really good. Definitely, I'm hearing a louder sound there. A bit more of a crack. Ball flight looks really strong, really powerful. I'm really interested to look at these numbers a little bit more detail here, and just see if there's a separation between those two shots. Dispersion looks a little bit tight there. We felt like I could control that a little bit more. But again, we'll have a little look at that. Okay, so let's check some numbers out in a little bit more detail. Okay guys, so let's check some numbers out here. So we've got Epic and Rogue. So club head speed pretty identical there. Ball speed pretty identical there. Like I said, that last one I hit just dropped off that averages a little bit there, but having said that, I did have a 158 there with the Epic. So efficiency is same. Launch just came out a little bit lower. That last one definitely was a low strike. You see that's dropped that launch out there. Again, possibly a little bit of tinkering. I could probably add a little bit more loft maybe to the Rogue against the Epic there, just to try and get that launch up a little bit more. Spin numbers both in a really good area for me, so they're both performing really well. You know, I know Epic Sub-Zero's in the bag. I know what that pretty much does. Really controlled. There's that sort of slight toe strike, which is which is geared a bit more spin off it really, which isn't ideal. That get a little bit low there. So very, very similar on those spin numbers there. Peaking out because of the launch there, peaking out a little touch higher with Epic against Rogue. Carry distance, there's only 4 yards in it. So Rogue's actually just behind a little bit. That last one really sort of suffered and pulled my averages down there. That quite a poor strike there to finish up on. So probably very similar, to be honest. If I took that bad strike out, kept the strikes fairly sort of similar there. You see very sort of similar numbers. I had a 310 in there, had a 315 with the Epic. So there's not much in it in terms of those numbers. Okay, so there we have it. 2 Sub-Zeros there, Epic against the new Rogue. Now, got to remember, guys, the Rogue isn't a direct replacement for Epic, so it's not superseding Epic. Epic is still going to be in the range, and it's going to sit alongside Rogue, okay, which sounds a little bit strange because they're both the same price point, but I've got a feeling Epic sales are obviously going to drop there. Second year of it being in its product cycle, you generally see a drop off of sales. Obviously, a new product on the market will take over the sales. So, but it isn't a direct replacement. So Epic is still ongoing through 2018 from what Callaway is saying. Rogue is built to be a little bit more forgiving, and probably that's maybe one negative I would say with Epic Sub-Zero is it was quite brutal, and it probably wasn't the most forgiving golf club in there. So when you missed that middle, you sort of felt it a lot more. Where I think with the Rogue there, I did feel like it was a bit more forgiving. The sound was slightly louder. The appearance is great, and it did feel a little bit more forgiving when I just missed the middle there. May not see it massively in the numbers there, but to be honest, you know, they're both very good drivers for me personally. You know, they're hitting that numbers. Obviously, some dialing around with lofts a little bit there, maybe just to tweak, especially with that Rogue there, just to tweak the launch up a little bit more, maybe playing around with the weights. We can sort of maybe just try and sort of just fine-tune those numbers a little bit. But ultimately, it's very similar performing to Epic. Big thing I would say there is probably feels a bit more forgiving than Epic, which is sort of what Callaway are sort of saying, really. Okay, interesting video again there, guys. You know, do comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Is Rogue Sub-Zero something that you'd want to be going out there and trying and testing? Have you got Epic Sub-Zero? Would you swap? Would you consider going out and trying it? Let me know your thoughts. You know, do comment down below. Again, the importance here is to go and get fit with a good sort of fitter. We've got all fitting components down here at Lytham Golf Academy, so if you're in the area or you can get to us, give us a shout, comment down below, bang us an email. And we're more happy to get you in the studio and get you fitted up because there's a lot of shaft options and there's obviously a lot of head settings as well. Okay, thanks very much for watching, guys. Please do hit that subscribe button, comment down below, follow my social media platforms where the links are all in the description down below, and hopefully I'll catch up with you all very soon.